When I do these videos and when I upload them, I go back about 3 hours later, read through the comments, and as of late, because all the subjects of the football have been around, well, the fact there's no football and when the football will resume, a lot of comments have fallen into one of two camps, basically. On the one side, you have people who think, well, this has been a bit of a bump in the road, and the players are getting back to training in May, getting fit for a month, and then the Premier League will resume in June. In essence, the Premier League clubs have got together and they found a solution, be it neutral venues or whatever it may be. We finish the season and then maybe a very, very small break and then start the next season. But we get back on track by and large. The other school of thought is very much that there'll be no resumption of football anytime soon, because football can't resume until really a vaccine has been found. So we won't have any football for 18 months or longer. It's over as we know it in many respects. So those are the two. And I look at them both, and it's today because the reports come out. And I wonder if there is actually, if the truth might be somewhere in between. And it's made me think about agents, players' wages, and sponsors, which is a funny one, you know. It's it takes quite a leap of faith to feel sorry for a betting company maybe, but bear with me on this. An article's come out and it's about the modelling, and what it says is about the Premier League fearing a worst case scenario of in 18 months' time of there being no football because a vaccine has not been found. They've done some financial modelling, and it goes on to say all but the 6 richest clubs would succumb to administration, with the majority of English clubs going out of business. West Ham would need around 300 million to stay afloat during an extended 18-month hiatus with no revenue streams. Well, if that happens, I don't think West Ham are going to get 300 million. I don't think anyone's going to pump 300 million pound in. But as I say, I think that is your doomsday model, if you like. No football for this season, no football next season. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. Who would believe what was happening now? If you'd have said this 3 months ago, you said, no, don't be ridiculous. That won't happen. That can't happen. It says if next season is played behind closed doors, which I do believe that is highly likely. If next season plays behind closed doors, and the Hammers will lose an additional 27 million of ticket revenue on top of the 28 million losses last season, or the one that has still not been finished, and at least 40 million this season. So, I mean, there's big losses there. But that's just ticket revenue. And I look at it, and of course we had a sponsor, which was called Bassett and Gold. Bassett and Gold have now gone under. And whilst all the focus has been on football clubs struggling and football clubs going under, I look at our main sponsor, Betway. And Betway can't be making any money at the moment. Oh, poor diddums, poor loves. I know, a betting company, but they've got to have some form of profit margin. They've got to have something. I don't just think they relentlessly churn out money. There must be something going on. Now, a lot of these betting companies are based overseas. They're based in Gibraltar and places like that. There's a lot of there's a reason they don't base themselves, a lot of them, in the UK. I'm sure there's one or two that do, but in the main, most of the betting companies, particularly online ones, place themselves overseas. Now, in doing so, I would imagine they've made in their bid to save themselves as much money to whatever it might be, not pay tax or employees or whatever the case may be, whatever they're trying to, I'm not saying it's tax avoidance, but something, whatever they're trying to do, whatever niche they're trying to do to save themselves as much money as possible, is probably not particularly helpful at the moment, because they're not going to be able to use furlough schemes, government initiatives, government grants, government loans, because realistically they're not UK-based businesses. So what have they got? Are people going on and playing more of that online casino stuff? The slot machines and the roulette. I don't know. I'm not a gambler, so I wouldn't know if people are doing that. Maybe people are at home and they're bored. They're doing more of that. Maybe profits are up. I don't know. But in terms of betting on the football, betting on the horse racing, and all the other stuff that people bet on, surely profits are down. And if profits are down, I'd imagine they're down massively. If they're down massively, surely those companies are at risk of going bust. What is it beyond the realms of possibility that Betway cease trading? Now, what about them? What about if that happens? Then you lose a sponsor. It's not just the revenue stream of the ticket sales. So if we say that that's a possibility, because Premier League clubs don't just have one sponsor. You go and look on the West Ham United website, it'll be a section, our partners. There's loads of them. Loads of them. We were sponsored by Royal London Watches at one time or another. How much money are Royal London Watches making now? Asper's Casino, one of our previous sponsors. Who's going into Asper's? Nobody. You're not allowed to. Can't do social distancing. How many Premier League club sponsors are going to go under? While the focus is on the television, while the focus is on the ticket sales, I think we're looking at massive losses all across the board. Whether you think it's going to be 18 months or 2 years, or just the way it is. Also, what's the value of an advertiser at the moment? There are certain in-ground advertisers. All the adverts around the perimeter of the pitch. Doesn't matter for West Ham particularly, because we don't own our own stadium. We don't get the revenue from that. London Stadium do. But all those other ones, all around the perimeter, there's no value in having those there. The match day ones that the fans see. So all that's lost. I just think there's an awful lot of stuff to be lost. So revenue streams are down, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. Whether you think that the owners should foot the bill or not, it doesn't really matter, because it doesn't matter whether you think whether they should foot the bill. It's whether they will. So if it says here on this scenario that West Ham would need around 300 million to stay afloat during an extended 18-month hiatus, who would put that 300 million in? You wouldn't do it if you were Golden Sullivan. I'm telling you now. They've spent their lives. That's over half of David Gold's fortune, which is amassed over his life. He'd walk away. I'm sure of it. And I wouldn't blame him either, by the way. Because 300 million is a lot of money. Now, do I think that will happen? No. I think some form of football will get back on track and before all of this stuff becomes silly. But I do think it is going to be a watered down football. I think the football is going to be diluted, but I also think the income stream is going to be an awful lot lower. So what about the difference? Because everybody else is having to adapt. We're having to adapt in our lives. I had a word yesterday with somebody that works for me. He said, well, what about when we get back to work? I said, well, whoever adapts best is going to be all right. I said, we're just going to have to make sure that we convince the customers that we can do it safely, that we're masked up, we're gloved up, that we make sure we enforce social distancing. We're going to have to make sure that we make the customer feel comfortable. We don't go anywhere near them, that everything is sanitised, everything is cleaned. And I said, we might have to diversify. We normally do glitzy new, spanking new bathrooms. There might not be not a lot of money around for bathrooms. We might be doing more repairs and stuff like that. So we've got to adapt. That was what I was talking about in my line of work. Football's going to have to adapt. And it really will. And the trouble, the thing that I see, the biggest problem I see is the players and the agents. Because the deferment's a massive issue. I mentioned it yesterday or the day before. The deferments are like a massive black cloud looming in the distance, just getting closer and closer and closer. Because whatever, 2 months, whatever it may be, it's going to it's going to really hit the clubs hard, really, really hard. And I just think the deferment's no good. We need pay cuts, and we need them almost immediately. And the player's going to have to adapt here. Whilst it's really nice to earn 60, 70 million pound a week, if they carry on earning that, they're going to bankrupt the clubs. And as I say, it's a massive stretch to think I feel sorry for a football club owner who's a billionaire, or I feel sorry for a betting company who have taken my money for years and years and years. I'm not saying about feeling sorry for them. What I'm talking about is having a realistic idea of what it's going to do, how much it's going to impact you. The cupboard is going to be bare. There's not going to be anything there to take. Now, the biggest problem you've got is players that are on long contracts. And here's the real problem. The clubs can go to the PFA, who are obviously going to represent the players, and say, look, we're in really real trouble here. We need people to take pay cuts, and big ones. Our revenue streams are down 30% We need everyone to take a pay cut of 30%. The PFA are going to go back to players. The players are going to say no. At some point, that's going to have to be enforced. There will be a point where a club thinks, I'm going to have to let those players go, otherwise the club folds. At that point, I don't want to pick a player because I don't want to pick a player who's a good guy. I wouldn't do this. But take a player. The club have to kick him out. He's on £100 a week, let's say. So we've got to just let you go. We cannot afford to pay you. If we carry on paying you, you won't take a pay cut. If we carry on paying you, the club's going under. We're going to have to release you. They breach the contract. What happens then? Well, the player's going to come back and sue the club. And then the club is going to fold because the club will not be able to afford it. People are going to, they then become a creditor. People are going to start seizing assets off the club. You can see how messy this could possibly get. And I don't think we're far away. And I think we need to adapt. And I think players need to adapt. Well, I think we are. I say we. I think us as fans are. Look, we're ready to take a watered-down version of the season. We're ready to watch it from home. We're already adapting in the way that we shop, in the way that we travel, the way that we meet our friends, don't meet our friends, and don't meet our family. I'm not saying that the footballers are not adapting like that. They're going to need to adapt in their professional lives as well, which a lot of us, we're all doing that. We're all doing that. I would imagine most of the people watching this now have had to adapt to their working lives. There'll be one or two. But even your frontline key workers, you're still adapting what you do. You're still not. It's not doing your regular job normally now. There's all sorts of things going on around you. All sorts of safety protocols that you've got to adhere to. The players need to adapt. They need to adapt to their wages, because if they don't, the clubs are going to go under. It is as simple as that. And it needs to be done really, really soon. The trouble is, and I see it almost being a bigger problem than the pandemic itself in terms of sorting out the pandemic. Is actually probably quite clear. They probably need a therapy to sort it out. They probably need to work out a sanitised environment to work in. It's quite clear. Eventually, once enough research has been done, the rules of getting around it will be clear enough. There will be a path through. I think getting the players to take a pay cut will be more difficult. I think to say to a player, look, I'll tell you two things. This is what I'd be doing if I was an owner. You need to take a pay cut, and I can't deal with your agent. If you want to get some representation, bring a PFA representative in here. But I am not paying that agent £500,000 just to renegotiate the terms of your contract, which is what goes on. If a club want to sign a player, the club end up paying the agent. Sometimes they pay two agents, sometimes they pay an agent twice. It is quite normal when negotiating a contract, particularly one for a player worth 10, 15, 20 million pound, whatever, it's quite normal to pay the agent £1.5 million. I don't think he's needed. Not at these times. We've discussed it before. I'm not going to repeat myself on that, but no agents and take a pay cut. You're still going to be rich. You're still going to be wealthy. But even better than that, you're still going to have a place of work. You're still going to have a job. Because if enough players don't take pay cuts, if enough players are unreasonable about it, and if only a sprinkling of them start trying to take football clubs to court, then there really could be a situation where it won't even be a watered down version of football, where actually players send clubs under.